Okay. So see, module is basically collection of function. Okay. You can put multiple functions in one file. You can put multiple function in one file. Let's say I've written some good functions. Okay. Okay. And if I've already written, right, why do you need to create your own, right? You can use my functions only, right? So, how do I give you my functions? Let's have written few functions, okay, which are useful to you. So how do I give those functions to you? I can give them to you using module. So I can create function like, have you started recording?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So let's say I create a function called def my fun1, okay, and I do a plus b and I return a plus b. I create another function called def my fun2, okay, nothing, and print I do nothing. In fact, you can even create a class, okay, and def, okay, object created, print info, print some output here. Okay, so let's say I've written these amazing functions and classes and I give it to you. I will pass p11.py to you. This is the file name, right? The file name itself becomes a module name. File name itself becomes a module name. Okay. So let's say you take it and you put it in the same folder where your other files are. Okay, it's P11, right? So I'll go here and I'll say import P11. The moment I say import P11, all the functions of P11 are available for me to use. You see? My fun2, my fun1 sample. Okay. Now you do not like P1 name. P1 name is not attractive, let's say. Okay, you don't like it. So you can give it an alias. Okay. I can say um you know, I can say something like I'm thinking a good name. Okay, so probably I'll call this as P11 as rocket science. Then what I'll do, I will have to say rocket science dot my fun2. Now you call P program 1, you see, you get output as I do nothing. This is how you can use functions and classes, which is present in other module. Okay. Now, there are two ways to do it. One, you import P11 and say P11 dot, or you import P11 as some name and then some name dot, you can use it. Second way is, if you do not want to import all of them, you can say from P11 import. Now I will say import only my fun1. Okay, I'll comment this part. Now when you say from P11 import my fun1, two things you have to keep in mind. One, only my fun1 is available. My fun2 and classes are not available. Only that particular function is available. Point number one. Point number two, when you call them, you can directly call them. You don't have to say package name dot or module name dot. 5, comma 10. Okay, you run it. Okay, what happened? It's not printing, right? P11. Yeah, it's returning, right?
Oh,
So
yes.
print A plus B, let's say. Returning, so you have to catch it, right? You have to catch, or you have to say print here. Okay. One print is printing from the function, other print is printing because we gave print here.
Yes.
So two ways, okay. One way is you call the function, say from P11 import function name. So you are only importing one function from the module. So when you are importing only one function is available for you to use. Point one. Point two, you can directly refer this function. You don't have to say class name dot or something dot. But if you want to, import all the functions, generally when you have to import more than 4 or 5 functions, we'll say import all, right? Because import all, the first method, okay, will make your program little slow, okay, because so many functions are getting attached to your file. Okay, so from um, efficiency perspective, we don't recommend. This is what is recommended. But problem here is if you use like myfun, this looks like as if you have written this in the same file. Okay, so you cannot have another function called myfun here. Okay, but if you import like this, you can have two functions here. Because if you say module name dot, it means, okay, I need to call that myfun one. If it is without module name, that means I have to call local myfun one. But if you do this like this, it becomes like a local function only. So your module name is a file name itself. Okay, and you don't have to do anything. Just place this P11 in the same location of program one. This is called module. And when you have folder, okay, we call them as package. Okay, so let's say you want to import multiple modules.
Yes.
Okay, so we call them as package. So package is collection of files and folders. So every folder in a package will have a init file. That is how it indicates that it is a package. Now, if I go here, I have created some folders already. You see, I have my pack one. If I click on my pack one, okay, expand it. So see here, my pack one has sub1 folder and mod2 module one and this Razia underscore project, right? So my pack one is a package. How do you know it's a package? Because it has init
Folders.
.py. Not all folders are your package, right? So if I open my package one, my pack one, it has a file
Init.
called underscore underscore init underscore underscore dot. This file may be blank only. Okay. This file may be blank. Okay. It may not have anything, but it should be there. This is how you indicate that it is a package. So init.py file should be there. If you see init.py, that means, okay, it is a package. Content may be blank. Okay. Now, here you can have multiple files. Each of these are modules, but together they form a package. So we don't call them modules, but we call them as package. And my pack one, the folder name is your package. It can have another folder, sub one. Sub one also is a package because it,
Yes,
it is a
init.
part of package because it has again init.py.
Yes.
Okay. So this is how you create a package. Package is collection of modules. Now, if I go and click on my pack one, see my pack one does not have any.py. Test does not have any.py. That means these are not packages.
Packages.
Okay. So that's how you bundle multiple projects. When you're working on a project, you'll have multiple files. So you package them, you put them together under one folder, you give a any.py and it becomes a package and people, sell or use packages. You'll be using, when we get into advanced work, we'll be using packages. Like if you have to do machine learning, we'll call a scikit-learn package. Okay. Different package and for module is just one single file. Package is a folder which will have multiple files.
Sir, we have to create the package and modules, huh?
We can create our own or we can use inbuilt package. So let's say if you are
Okay.
building a project, okay, and you want to sell it to somebody, yes, you have to create a package and then only you can, let's say you're developing for a local medical store. So you'll create the package and you will sell the package to them. So you,
Yeah, because in last semester I just learned ML and I only import the package or module,
yes,
not make it.
correct. So you import package or module, okay, which is already built. See, if it is already available, why do you want to create it, right? So we've been using, see, I'll show you a module that we are going to use now, the import random. Did we not use import random?
Yes,
Import
used.
random
Used.
was a module that we used to generate random numbers. If you remember the
Yes,
exercise that
yes,
we did
yes.
in while loop. So it
Yes.
generated random number. So
Guess game, I guess.
yeah, so
Yeah.
import random. So random is a module, and when you say random dot, you can give random, random int. Okay, these are the functions in random module. The
Okay.
module is random, and it can have various functions inside it. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. You we'll see when with some examples later. You have modules for date, time, time. So that you have that. If you have to deal with date, you'll use date. If you have to deal with time, date, only time, you'll say time. And if you're dealing with date and time, you'll use date time. Okay. But coming back here, let's say you create this module. Okay, let's say this is my module and progress is your file. You are using my module. So I want to test my module. Okay, I want to see if a module is working fine or not. So what I'll do, I will call my fun one. Okay, and I will give 99 comma 87. Okay, I'm calling my own function, right? Okay, I create object s1 equal to. Okay, so I use my P11. Now, when I move to prog1 and let me call p prog1. Okay, so what happened? I'm running prog1. I'm not running my old file. See? So when you say import, import will execute this entire file. Import
Yes.
will execute the entire file. So whatever you work that you have done here will also be executed. So for example, let's say I just say import p11, right? And I'll put everything in quotation. So I'll make everything else. So I'm simply saying import, right? And simple import is executing that file completely, the test that you have done. Now, I want to import only the function. I don't want to import all the work that you have done. So it is a good practice, okay? It is a good practice that you put your all functions in the file. And when you are doing the main program, we use a special condition called if, okay, if name underscore name equal to, okay, checking main, okay. If name equal to main, that means if this P11 is called directly, if this P11 is called directly, then you execute this. If P11 is called directly, then you execute this. Otherwise, do not execute. Okay. So now when I run P11, I will get all these things because here name is main. Main means you're calling the same file. Okay, the main calling file, the main file is this P11. So here name is main. Okay. Now if I go to prog1, now here name is prog1. I mean prog1 is main. So now it is not going to execute. So it will execute those functions, but not the content which is there in the name equal to main. Yes, Do you see that now? Those things are not executed.
Hmm.
Okay. We should also learn to code like this. Okay. So that is about your module. Okay. Now we'll talk about let's say reading a file. Okay, we'll talk about reading a file, and tomorrow we'll talk about exception handling, and we'll take some example from date. Okay. Okay. So to read a file, okay. Okay. So let's say I already have this file1.txt. Okay. File.txt is already there, and this is some content in it. Okay. So I'll see how to read this file from here, and then use it, and use it for your program. So to read the file, okay, first we have to open the file. Okay. And when opening, you have to mention the mode in which you want to open. Do you want to open in read mode, write mode, or append mode? So there are three modes to open a file. Okay. Read, write, append. Now, read means you are reading the content from the file. And write means you are writing content to the file. Okay. So if you just want to read, then you open in read mode. If you want to only write, you can't read, you can only write. And writing means existing content is deleted while new content is added. Okay. So see, let me. Okay. Mode of file handling. Okay. So you can do read. Okay. Which is read. Okay. You can do write, which is to write. Okay. Delete old content and write new. Then you have A, append. Append means keep the existing content. So if you want to keep deleting the old content and update with new content, you have to use write. Right. And if you want to keep the old content, then you have to use append. Okay. So R, W, A, these are three mode. You also have R plus, W plus, A plus. Okay. You also have R plus. R plus means read and write. W plus means read and write and read. And then you have A plus. Okay, better I'll write all small letter because in Python we use all small only. Okay, I wanted to write capital to make it visible, but I think that doesn't make sense. A plus means append and read. Now, what is the difference between read and write and read? See, if you want to read something, the file has to be there. That's the only difference actually. So read, when you say read, file has to be there. If file is not there, it'll throw error. But when you're writing and the file is not there, let's want to write to a file, file1.txt. But file1.txt is not there. It will create it. Write will create it. Write will not have any problem because obviously you're writing, right? So content may not be there. So you'll create the file and you will write it. But when you're doing read and file is not there, it will throw error. Okay. So that's the only difference between read write and write read. Okay. So write and read will throw error if file is not there. Okay, write and read will not throw error if file is not there. It will create. If file is not there, it will create. Okay, so let's take an example here. So I'm giving file name. I can give absolute path. Okay, absolute path means C colon. Either you give double slash because of we discussed this, right? It is called escape sequence, right? So
Yes,
escape
yes.
sequence has to be double slash. Okay, double backward slash, or you give single slash. Okay, the way generally we give that in Linux or Mac, you give this slash. So this single slash will do, or you give this double slash. Up to you. Both are accepted. So C colon double slash folder double slash abc.txt. That means I'm trying to access a file which is in folder called folder, and that folder is in C drive.
Yes. Yes.
Instead of doing that, you can also give what is called as relative path. So when you see colon there, right, drive name colon, C colon D colon, that means you're talking about absolute path. Okay, but relative path is when you give with respect to where your Python file is. Okay, my Python file is in this location here. C users, PyCharm projects, Python project. Now okay, this is where my files are. So instead of doing that, I will simply say abc.txt. abc.txt will be checked here. This one. Okay, there's no abc.txt, right? Now let's try to open it. So to open it, I need a file handle. I'll say file obj equal to open. Open function will open the text file. Open. Then you give the file name, which file you want to open and which mode you want to open. And once you sorry. Once you open it, okay, now better you close it also. File object dot close. And all your logic will be between open and close. So let's run this and see. abc.txt is not there. What happens if I try to execute? See, no such file or directory abc.txt. So read will not be able to read it. Even if I do r plus or r, it doesn't matter. But same way, if I do W plus, okay, or W, anything. Now I run it. See, abc.txt is created. Okay, so write will
Yes. Yes.
create that file. No, you want to save it. So I'll say, so that there are two functions, there are two operations that we do to file. One is read from the content, another is write to content. So let's say I want to write to this file. So I will say content equal to, and I want to write multi-line. So I can, use triple quote and I can write multi-line stories. This is sample content story about a king and a queen who lived in a jungle. So I am talking about Lion, the king of jungle. Okay, so this is the content I want to write. Simple. I'll say file object, okay, dot write. So write has these functions: write lines, writable. Writable is like asking a question: is it writable? Can you write it? If the
Okay.
file is blocked, you can't write it. Then you get a value saying false. No. Okay. So general practice is before you write, it is good practice to check if the file is writable. Okay. If file is available, it's writable. Okay.
Yes.
So that's one. or okay, you can use write to write the entire content, or write lines. Write lines, okay, you need to have multiple lines in list form. So let's do first write. So write what content. Okay, I run it once. I ran it. Okay, yeah, it's good. Pointing here only, right? Prog1, yes. I do it once, twice, thrice, 4 times, 5 times. Okay, let's go and open and see if abc.txt. See, the content got added only once because write will delete the old content and keep on writing the same content again and again. Okay, now if I go here and I'll change it to A. So one time already content is there, right? 2, 3. Now let's open ABC and see what happens. You see? Yes, 3 times content got added. You can also do, as I said, multi-line, okay, using write lines. So, okay, so I will add some more content here. Okay, so I'll say content 2, which is your list. Okay, and it will have multiple text that you want to add. So I'm going to say here, this is sample line 1. And if you want new line to be added, so the next content could go to the next line, you say /n. Line 2 content /n. Line 3 content /n. And then I'm going to say here, write lines. Okay. Write lines, and I'll say content 2. See? Got added.
Hmm.
So you can add content as in content, or you can add like a list, strings in list. Sounds good?
Yes.
Okay. So this is about writing. Now I want to read the content, right? So you can open in A+ mode, W+ mode, or simply R mode. If I open in R mode, then all these things will throw error, right? You cannot do. It is not writable. It's only open in read mode. You can't write anything to it.
Hmm. Yes.
Okay. Now, so let me do it R+ mode. Okay. So of course this will work. Now I want to read the content. Okay. So see here, when I read the entire content, so I will say file object dot read. Okay. Now this output, I'll put it here, and I will say print content from the file. Okay. Did I print it? No, I did not print it. If I don't print it, how will I see the? No, I printed, right? This is print. Yeah. So see, the entire content is printed here. Content from the file. Okay, so if you want to read entire content, great. Now I want to read it again. I want to read again. Okay, so content from the file. Okay, content from the file. Right? So you read the entire content again. But did we read? No, we just pasted the same old output, right?
Yes.
Same old output we pasted. So we got this content. This is not reading. So for reading, I have to call this again, right? Output equal to. Correct or not? Using same variable is just printing the old content. I want to read it again. Now I will read it again. See what happened? There is no output. Because see, you have already read the entire content. And now I'll tell you, oh, read the entire page. Okay, you read the entire page. I say, okay, read more. Now read more. What will you read? You have already read the entire page, right? There's nothing more to read.
Okay.
If there's nothing more to read, you have nothing to read. That's why give you blank.
Okay.
Okay, because already you have read it. So there's no point. There's nothing to read again. Okay. So yes. So how do I go back? So you have something called as file object dot seek. Seek is a function that will take you around. I want to go to position 0. So I'll say
Yes.
seek
Yes.
0. Now it will take me to the beginning of the file. Now if I read it, see, oops, what happened? Okay, I'm going after reading. It has read blank, right? It should go before you read, isn't it? Now you see, content is read again. Because I took you beginning to the position 0. I can say seek 10. If I say 10, it will take the 10th character. So second time when you read here, very second time, right? Content from file, you see, content who lived in a jungle, right? Sample content, story about a king. Sample content is where? Here.
Yes.
Okay. So it
Sir,
has
so what does seek exactly do? It like skips until the 10th character or what?
character, 10
Okay, okay.
character. Okay. So if you go to text here, okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 is gone. So it is printing from sample content. So if you want to move around to a certain position, you can say seek. Seek will take you to that position. So as you take, it said 10, it went to 10th position, and from there it's reading.
To use this seek, we need to know, right, in what position
Yes, you need to
what
know.
is there.
This is all text, right? String. You can
Yeah.
use all your string operations to know where you want to go. You can use which function to tell you the position. Forgot?
Index.
Yes. There's
Yes,
index. There is one more. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Index will tell you, okay. Um, then there is Find. Find will
Yes,
also tell
find.
you, right?
Yes.
Where the value is, yes. So you can use those properties. They're all string, right?
Yes.
You can use string properties to do your work.
So if you are reading it for the first time, we cannot use C. Like,
No, you can always use no. Okay. So I don't want to read from 0. I want to read here, right? This is the first read. I'll say go to 20. Read from position 20. So first time only it will read from position 20. Tent, right? Not content. Tent. Story about a key. Sample tent. So sample con is gone. Tent. So you can always use this. So I'll say from 10th position, read next 15 characters. From 10th position, read next 15 characters. So what will I do? I will say here from 10th position, right? So file seek 10. Next 15 characters. So content 3 equal to file object dot read. If I say read, it will read the entire content, right? But I want
yes.
only 15
15.
characters. So I'll say 15.
Okay.
If I say 15, I will be reading only 15 characters.
After 10. Yes. From 10.
Okay. Is from 15th, read
Okay.
one line. If you want to read one line, okay, you have something called as, I'll say content 4 equal to file object dot read line. Read line will read one line,
Single.
maximum of one line. Okay, so if you are in the beginning, first line will be read. But if you are in 15th line, the existing content of the 15th line, let's say you have, because of file seek, you are on 15th line and 5th character. So from 6th till the end of the line will be read. From where you are till
Okay.
the end of the line. If you're in the beginning, first line will be read. If you are in the 15th line and on 6th character, so from 6th to the last character will be read.
Yes.
Okay, so that's how you can read. Read lines will read the entire line, will read all the content, put them into different line as a list. Okay, so if you say file 60, let me use this. Okay, let me use this. So I'm saying file 60, go to the beginning. I'm saying content 5 equal to read lines. Okay, and now I'm going to say content 5. Okay, so you see, entire thing is read, but as a list of strings.
Yes.
So now you know how many lines are there, and this is a list, right? So you can use properties of the list. You can use a for loop to iterate through each line and do whatever analysis you want to do. This is how your read function will be used. Okay, so with that we complete files also. Oops. Tomorrow we'll talk about exception handling. What is exception? See, if you talk about errors in programming languages, there are 3 types of errors mainly. One is just syntax error. Syntax error is grammatical error, right? So
Yes.
I say print and I say hello, but I forgot to give this quotation. Okay, now when I try to run, of course I'll get error, right? Syntax error. Syntax error means Python is not able to understand what you have written. Okay, so it's like this, I going, for example, let's say. When you say I going, okay, it doesn't make sense, right? There's nothing called I going, right? So if you say I going, the other person will say, oh, something is wrong. I don't know what you mean. You mean you go, you are going, or you went? What do you mean, right? So it's easy to catch when there is a mistake like this. This is called a syntax error. Okay. So you have not given the correct syntax. You are not following the correct rule. Second type of error is called logical error. Now I say, I give me sum of two numbers. Okay, and you put, instead of plus, you put minus. And you are very happy, oh, I got the answer, and you write and come. Then you realize that you got it wrong, right? Because logical error are very difficult to catch. Now I'm supposed to say, I went, but I said I am going. Since there's no error here, you will assume that, okay, I mean to say I am going. But what I meant was I went. So what I meant was add two numbers, but you said you put minus. These errors will give you output, never through error. If it doesn't throw error, you will not know there's a problem there, right? And whatever answer you get, blindly you will fill in the
Yes.
answer sheet, you will speak, okay, without knowing what program has done, and you'll think that your program has given you correct output. So logical error, as it says, it goes into the logic. Right? Very difficult to you have to run it multiple times. You have to put print in different spaces. So you have written 100 line of code, and you are not getting the out. You are getting output, but you are not getting what you expected. You'll have to print. You have to put print in multiple lines and see where I have gone wrong, right? Which maybe you have done 5 different things, and out of those 5, which one you have made a mistake, you don't know. If there's error, clearly it'll give you a line number, syntax error, line number 44. But logical error, no, it will give you output. So you have to go through each line and figure out where things have gone wrong. The third type of error, so logical error, logic, I mean, nobody can teach you. You have to get it right, correct? Syntax of Python will tell you. The exception handling, these are third types of error. They are called as runtime errors. Okay. These are your exceptions. How do you handle? What is this? So as name suggests, runtime. So in the beginning, you will not know. Only when you run the program, you will know the error. Very difficult, right? If you know in the beginning, you can fix it. But in the beginning, you won't see error. But when you run it, you get error and your program will abruptly stop, right? So I'm saying enter a number, correct? Int of input, enter a number. But what happens? When I run it, I say 60. Will this work? No. So this is called exception errors, and this is called value error exception. Value error exception. And it is important to know these names. You don't have to by heart, you don't have to remember, okay? You can make a purposely, you can make a mistake, and you can see, oh, value error. So this line can throw value error exception. You need to predict, you need to understand, okay, what all error each line can throw. Only when you know, you can handle it. And we'll see tomorrow how to handle these exception errors. Okay, so they're called exception error, where it's all fine. Okay, just because something went wrong at the runtime, when the program is running, okay, the program is getting executed, that's called runtime. Something happened, right? You want to read a file and file does not exist. You are saying read, you open the file in read mode and file does not exist. That will throw error, file not found error. You are dividing two numbers, okay? Denominator is 0, 5 by 0, error, okay? So these are, you're supposed to enter an integer, but you entered a text string, error. These are errors you cannot pre-predict, right? you can predict that it can happen, but definitely it will happen, you can't say, right? But yes, you need to know that it can happen, and then we will have to handle it so that even if program ends, it doesn't end abruptly. Okay, you give proper message saying, this is what you have done, this is how it went wrong, and now we are stopping it here, or so whatever. You want to give a chance to correct it, you correct it, some default values, or you stop it. But the user knows. Sometimes, you log into a website, you enter the data, you say submit, and it doesn't work, and you don't know what happened. Okay, that's when the exception happened. Something happened, and as a user, you don't know what happened. You don't know why program stopped. If you handle the exceptions well, okay, you'll give a proper message. Okay, maybe network is down, we'll get back to you soon, or we will please try again. So it may be frustrating, but at least as a user, you know what you're not supposed to do, right? So that's what we call as exception handling, error at runtime. Okay, so we will see this tomorrow, how to handle the exception.